Welcome back to my ridiculous show. This is the Find Me in Seattle podcast. This is episode 15, and today we got a few things going on. We're going to talk about a recent article that came out by Crosscut. It's called Do Transplants Owe Something to Seattle? I want to touch very briefly on the brand new Amazon Go store, and then as always, we've got my featured business of the week and my meal of the week, and both of those are going to be Filipino food features. So thanks for joining me here on episode 15. Let's get into the show. All right, so like I mentioned, the first thing I want to talk about here is this article that Crosscut produced about 2 weeks ago. And I guess a lot of the content that I'm sharing this week were news from about a week ago, but last week I got caught up in the other topics and I still wanted to share these things. So the author, her name is Samantha Allen. And the article says, what does a transplant owe to Seattle? I couldn't do everything to become an ethical citizen of my new home, but I could do something. And so what Samantha questions here is, with everybody moving to Seattle, not everybody, but a lot of people moving to Seattle, she says that her and her wife were two of the 15,000 people who moved to the city between 2017 and 2018. And she started to kind of feel a guilt about not integrating herself more in the community, and which I understand. And I think this was a very cool article and unique perspective to say, we have all these people moving to the city. The city is changing so rapidly and so much. And what can transplants do, or what should they do, or are they required to do anything in order for them to immerse themselves into the city and become part of a community? And so some of the things that she did is she started donating to the Chief Seattle Club. She registered to vote, which I thought was really important. She did a cleanup with Green Lake Litter Patrol. She made some donations to KEXP. She ate at a bunch of local businesses, and put her experience and how at the end of this she started to gain a more rich understanding of Seattle and the uniqueness that our city has compared to other places that she lived. I'm not sure where she lives. And then I like this quote, how she ended. She said, I felt like I was beginning to see Seattle. Not in full, of course, but perhaps a little glimmer of its essence. I wanted to continue contributing to the city, not out of a sense of guilt for not having done so sooner, but because my affection for it had genuinely deepened. Seattle is weird, a little removed, astoundingly beautiful, and culturally rich. Seattle came from somewhere. It didn't sprout up around Starbucks in 1971, so I kept going. I set monthly donations, on and on and on, and I tell newcomers that they too should get to know their adopted home. And so it got me thinking, what do we owe to the city? I moved here in 2011 after college, and I had never once in the 9 years I lived here really thought, did I owe something to the city? And I get that I have an interesting angle at this because my entire career now is based off promoting the city and understanding the people and the places and showing those off and sharing those stories. So I do consider myself as much of a local as anybody else, and just about as much as anyone who lived there for their entire life. The amount of people and stories that I've shared and the way that I try to embrace and share the community that I live in, I think that I have at least begun to earn my stripes. But to all the people moving here, I kind of have to disagree here. I am struggling to take the side that says that anybody owes anything really to the city. And the primary reason that I keep coming back, and it relates a lot to my stance on immigration. When people immigrate to America, I'm in the boat that they don't really owe America all that much either. We all, in our family histories, except for the few people with what am I trying to say? With Native American descent, the rest of us all got to America at some point in our family history through immigration and got here and built up our lives, and we're all blessed to be where we are now. But I struggle with this, right? Because I don't think any of those immigrants really owe America anything. If they come and they contribute and they can make a living and they can create success and bring a better life for their family, they deserve that. They earn that. When they come here, that's what their dream is. They usually work way harder than most Americans to earn that position in society. And I don't think it's right of us to really put any requirements on them to pay back the country. I mean, they should be paying taxes if they're making money to help out like everybody else. I think that they should pursue citizenship at some point. They should, if they earn that, if they get that citizenship, I would love them to vote. We'll talk about voting here in a second. But to think that they owe anything, I really disagree that they do owe anything. And so I take that perspective and I'm like, does somebody moving to Seattle owe the city very much? Like, they're here to pursue their dreams or their goals and their work aspirations. If they're here and they're contributing and earning a wage and they're not being disruptive, they're not tearing people down, they're not being negative, and they're not complaining about the place that they live, then I just don't really think that they owe very much to the city, right? That all comes with the factors of there still being a positive contribution to society in some type of way. And it flips the other way when if you're complaining about the problems we have here in Seattle and you're not contributing to bettering the city or integrating yourself into the community or helping out in some type of way, I think that's a little bit where we do have a problem. But I do like some of the things that Samantha points out here about ways to integrate yourself. If you're having issues with living here in Seattle, and I know a lot of people do, dealing with the Seattle freeze and making friends and finding communities, those are just difficulties that we all have as adults, especially when you move to a new city. And I think some of the things, I mean, donating to the different organizations, picking up litter around Green Lake, eating at all those restaurants, I think those are great. Those are wonderful things. The one thing that I did want to touch on that I thought was important was eventually she registered to vote. And I do think that's an important thing. That's really the one thing that I think if I was going to suggest something that you do, if you're going to live here, you should register to vote. And so you do have at least your voice heard with where you think the city should go in the future. I think that is very important. Fill out those ballots if you haven't done so here in the primaries. All right, but I'm curious, what do you think? Do you think that people owe anything to the city when they move here? Do locals owe anything just because you were born here, which was not your choice? Do you not owe anything? I think we all owe it to ourselves and to whatever community we live in to contribute to those communities, help out, be a good person, be nice, talk to your neighbor, be friendly, take out the trash when the trash needs to be taken out, and try to be a good person and spread that and help the people around you in the community. I think that goes for anybody, no matter what. If you moved here or you lived here forever, those are kind of the important pieces to me. So I'm curious to know. Let me know. Send me a message in any of the social media platforms at Find Me in Seattle. And if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear that you disagree and why. Let me know if you think transplants owe something to the city of Seattle. The other article that came out that caught my eye was related to the brand new Amazon Go grocery store up in Capitol Hill. So if you haven't been to an Amazon Go store, how it is you have the Go app. You scan the app right when you walk in, and if you look in the roof of these stores, they pretty much look like servers and sensors across the entire ceiling. It's really like this crazy network of hardware, and somehow they track you all the way through the store. Everything you pick up, everything you touch, how long you sit there and you look at it, they're tracking every little data piece. And all you do is you pick up the candy bar and you walk out. Because when you walk in, you scan your phone, so it already attaches some identification in your Amazon account to you. And I mean, within 60 seconds of walking out of the store, you get an emailed receipt from Amazon saying, this is what you bought. Here's, if anything's weighed, it's all broken down. And somehow they have figured out this technology where they can keep track of everything. If you pick things up and put it down, it doesn't charge you for it. It's really mind-blowing what they have accomplished with this store. And it makes me think and assume that this is the future of retail, because it is so innovative and very, very easy and convenient to not have to go through the checkout process. And I think there is a lot of the future we can see in these stores. And up to this point, the Go stores have been more like 7-Eleven, convenience stores, lots of different local products, drinks, beverages, but nothing kind of, it's not an entire grocery store. But this new one in Capitol Hill, I have not yet been, but it's giant. And obviously, a lot of people are hating on it here in the city. And I like to kind of take the approach that I think it's super cool. I think it's so innovative and interesting. And they're doing this all out of convenience for us as the consumers. And I get that it's going to maybe have less employees. But if you go to QFC or you go to Safeway, you see all those same employees not working at registers anyways. There are so many more self-checkout stands than there are checkers, right? But there's still employees who are running the show there, who are stocking all the shelves, keeping products there, and Amazon's gonna have the same situation. There's still gonna be humans involved in the process. And so I just think that this is technology that is coming. It's gonna be hard to avoid, and I think it's rather exciting. I'm curious about what's going to happen with the data, right? Because if you're walking down an aisle, just imagine they're going to be able to start sending you like push notifications for, what if you picked up this can of soup and you look at it and you're like, nah, it's not for me, and you put it back down, and then your phone buzzes and it goes, hey, we'll give you $1 off of that soup if you actually want it. And then you go back and you're like, all right, it's $1 less, I'll put it in my cart. All those like little intricacies that they're going to know about how much time you spend, which aisles you're in, how much time you spend in those aisles. It's really no different than what they already do online and what we look at on Amazon or you look on any other website. And so personally, I feel like we've already kind of given up a lot of that privacy based off how we search online. And I don't think, I'm not too worried about giving up my shopping experiences at a place like Amazon Go, because they're trying to make the experience better for me, right? And I get that there are some privacy concerns down the road and that could happen, and I get that. But I think overall they are trying to make the experience better for us as consumers, and so I'm going to kind of stick to that side as of right now. And with this being the Find Me in Seattle podcast, I'm rooting for Amazon. I'm rooting for Microsoft and for Boeing and all these companies, because when these companies do well, our entire community benefits. There's more money to go spend in the local economy. People are doing better. We can solve some of these bigger problems that we're having because there's more resources and more mind share to solve some of these big problems that we have coming up. And so I'm always pro growth. Obviously, we want to do it in the right ethical way, but we need those companies to do well and continue to do well because it supports our city so much. And so, yeah, you can give me the thumbs up on Amazon Go. I just think it's interesting and unique and fun, and I'm excited to go check out this Capitol Hill location. All right, those are my news articles for the week. Thanks for joining me there. And like I said earlier, if you've got any feedback on this, if you hate the Amazon Go store or if you love the Amazon Go store, I'd love to hear your reasons why. Please share those with me online wherever you see fit. But the next part, I mentioned this earlier, my featured business and meal of the week are both Filipino-based businesses. And I'm digging myself in a deep hole with these themes that I've had this month. It was not intentional whatsoever for me to do this, but I have really liked it. It's been cool, the consistency that's come up in these different communities that I've been able to highlight. And I'm just grateful to be part and contribute and know about a lot of these communities. And hopefully you guys are learning about some of them now just through listening to the show. So first, let's start with the meal of the week. My meal of the week, I actually ate it 2 weeks ago, but it was so good, I needed to come back and share it. And maybe you guys already know what it's going to be, since I mentioned it being a Filipino restaurant. the two places that I'm going to share today are kind of like the top two places right now, I feel like, in the city. And so my meal of the week, what a surprise, Musong in Beacon Hill. And I'm pretty sure I've been calling it Moosong since it opened, not really knowing. And then I watched their Kickstarter video and I'm like, I'm an idiot. It's Musong. I better get that right. So Musong is actually started from the nickname of the owner. The owner's name is Melissa Miranda. She's been doing pop-ups for Filipino-based pop-ups around Seattle for the last couple of years. And in 2019, she started a Kickstarter with a goal of raising $75,000 so she could turn Musong into a brick and mortar space. And she exceeded that goal. She ended up raising from 669 backers over $91,000. And they found a location there in Beacon Hill. And so when I show up to dinner, the location first was just super cool. I had high expectations already, but I just thought it was so unique. So you get there and it's literally inside of a house, right? And on the front gate, you see the name Musong on there, and you literally walk up to the front door of the house and walk through, and there's a giant dining area in what you would normally have been like the living room and the family room. And then there's a bar on the left side, a bunch of tables around that. And then there's just kind of like a little alleyway and window back into the kitchen. And the kitchen's not big whatsoever. But right when you walk in the door, like you immediately hit the essence of Musong and why they are so special. You get this like intense family atmosphere. It's very inviting, very friendly. And I was excited right when I walked in because I hadn't really done a lot of research on like, what does the place look like and what's the atmosphere in there? I've heard about the food, but when I walked in, I was like, wow, I feel already like I'm in a family business. They've done a great job accomplishing that aspect of their restaurant. And so the server is talking to us and they're talking about all the specials. So my number one pro tip for Musong is make sure you order the special. Every day of the week they have a different special, and we were there on a Wednesday, and so we got the oxtail, which shout out to Matt, the person who went with me. I guess that was kind of like an obscure thing for us to order, but it just melted off the bone. It was so unique and so delicious, and I'm sure on the other couple days a week that they are open, those specials are fantastic. So make sure whatever the special is, you should just order it. It won't go wrong. The other item, and I'm just going to butcher this pronunciation, but it's a Adobong Pusit Pancit. It's a squid ink pasta, so it's black pasta, and they have bihon, tinapa, and scallions in it. Gosh, I'm sorry if I pronounced all those wrong. But it had blanking on, almost, it was like fried, not calamari, it was almost like calamari. Oh my gosh, fried squid, and then the squid ink pasta on top of it. My one critique of it was I thought the ratio between the fried squid and the pasta was a little off. I could have used a little bit more squid and a little less pasta, but that does not at all take away from how delicious the meal was. Absolutely phenomenal. The other thing that I highly recommend off the appetizers is the lumpia. It's, if you don't know what lumpia is, it's kind of like let's call them Filipino taquitos. And they're like fried rolls. They have pork, shrimp, water, chestnuts, and served with spiced vinegar on the side. And Matt and I each separately ordered our own serving, and they were absolutely delicious. Totally lived up to the hype. Make sure you try the lumpia. I think that's a great thing to try. Also, I've heard, but I didn't order it, the bolo bolo was really good. And some of the desserts sounded delicious. But I am certainly going back relatively soon because Musong brings the heat. It's delicious. They do not take reservations, but they take your name down. They'll take your phone number. We actually walked around the corner there, and there is a school on the backside of that building, and they had they had multiple vendors there. They had like a pizza maker. They had a I'm blanking on what it was. Well, either way, they had a bunch of street vendors there, and I just thought it was cool. Community, something I had no clue that even existed there on Beacon Hill. And so had a great time. So Musong, you are my meal of the week. Shout out to Melissa and what she's created there. It's fantastic. I will be going back. I'm a big fan. It lived up to all the hype. You should go there. You got a big dinner or something unique coming up. Go check them out. All right, on to my featured business of the week. And this was big news last week, but a really, like a staple of Pike Place Market named Oriental Mart are receiving a James Beard Award. And the category that they're receiving, I thought, was really interesting. So they're receiving the 2020 America's Classics Award, along with 6 other restaurants. And so Oriental Mart, it sits, if you walk in off First Avenue at that primary Pike Place Market, it's like around the corner to the right. And what I suggest you order, I'm going to read my Instagram post from when I promoted them. I met them, this was November 16th, 2018. And I met the owners, and their names were Lila and Joy. And the thing that I remember most about both of them was just like their sassiness, and they were hilarious. They were so much fun, and they're kind of like a no BS, but constantly joking and having a good time, kind of like making fun and enjoying themselves and really like making work enjoyable. And the thing that we ordered that I'll never forget was, well, a couple things. The adobo chicken is something that you must order, but the plate that we ordered was the Do You Trust Me plate, right? And so the Do You Trust Me plate is not on the menu. It's not something you're going to be able to order. It's just saying whoever you're talking to, they're just going to make a plate for you, and you got to trust them, and it'll probably be delicious because all of their food delicious. So just wanted to give them a shout out because the Do You Trust Me plate is something that I'll never forget. And Oriental Mart is just so fantastic. They're so lively. They are so deserving of this award, and I'm so excited to see that. I'm a little bummed that the secret's out, but they deserve it, right? Do you ever feel when you know this place, you've been going there, and it's kind of like it's one of those local spots that not a lot of people know about, and you keep it close, right? And you tell people, but then when they get a recognition like this and they become big, now it's like, oh no, now this place is going to be crowded. I'm not going to be able to eat there. And it's something I feel guilty about feeling it because they deserve to have all the recognition. It's such a popular place there in Pike Place Market. I hope all of you, when you come and visit Pike Place Market, you go visit Oriental Mart, or go, if you're in Beacon Hill, go visit Musong. Both those extremely good Filipino food. I'm so excited that both those places right now are getting so much recognition. They absolutely deserve it. It's cool to see kind of both them simultaneously this month getting all this recognition and elevating Filipino food here in Seattle. I think that's really exciting. But Layla and Joy, thank you so much for having us at Oriental Mart. So much fun. Make sure you look out. They have all of these sassy signs all over there. I don't know what to call it because it's not like a restaurant. It's not a cart. But whatever their food service section is there in Pike Place Market, it is just smiles ear to ear. You'll have such a good time. They got such a good history. They've been in the market since 1971. So Oriental Mart, you are my featured business of the week. Shout out to you guys. Congratulations on that award. It's more than deserved. Excellent. Well, that concludes episode 15 of the Find Me in Seattle podcast. It's about to get crazy because it is Friday, and on Monday, I am traveling to Thailand. And I'm going to be in Thailand with my fiance Amanda for an entire month. I still plan on recording the episodes. I'm bringing my camera. I'm going to be shooting a ton of videos while I'm in Bangkok. And so I shouldn't skip a beat. There is one Friday that I don't really plan on recording because my wedding is on that Thursday. But it's going to be Find Me in Bangkok for the entire month of March. But I'm still going to be doing me, exploring places. The podcast might shift. The podcast isn't going to be necessarily featuring so much on Seattle. If things are happening here that I need to talk about, I'll bring those up. But it's going to be a lot of reflection of my day-to-day and week-to-week and things that we're doing there in Bangkok for the month. So thanks for following along, being patient, taking a little pause from the Seattle content. And yeah, follow along. Instagram stories is still going to be popping every day. I'm going to try to get a bunch of YouTube videos out there for you. And then every Friday, I will be recording the show here. So thanks for listening. I appreciate you as always. Thanks for coming for episode 15, and we'll see you next week.